If our eyes are the window to our souls, you wouldn't want to gaze at these women. A jealous ex eliminates her competition. She was killed because she fell in love. That was it. A trivial neighborhood dispute ends in violence. She was looking for someone to vent her rage. She found it. And an unlucky businesswoman blames her fortune teller.
It's not a bad novel. It happened in real life, and two beautiful people paid for it.
These deadly women's callous acts prove they are soulless. If you want to live a long and healthy life, don't date a man with a jealous ex.
Hello, homewrecker.
There are a lot of headstones throughout the countryside that say, I thought I'd be okay. Salt Lake City, Utah, 2015. Motherhood is a blessing. 29-year-old high school teacher Chelsea Cook is about to be doubly blessed with twins.
For Chelsea, it was a dream come true. She loved children. She went into the field of education because she loved children. And she wanted to be a mother so badly.
Oh my God, these are so tiny. Look at these.
Husband Travis, her college sweetheart, is equally excited.
Can't believe I'm finally going to be a mom.
You're born to be a mom.
Chelsea and Travis were so anxious to get married, they didn't even wait until graduation. They married before. From an early age, Chelsea's believed marriage and being a mom will be the key to her happiness. But just 2 years later, reality hits. She's overwhelmed by motherhood while wrestling old demons.
What'd you throw that away for?
It's covered in germs. Chelsea struggled a lot with mental health growing up, depression, eating disorders.
Oh, give me a break.
I'm trying to keep our children safe.
When she was 17, she developed anorexia.
Go watch TV, go on. Just a minute, go watch TV, okay?
Someone with anorexia frequently feels the world is out of their reach. Chaos, anxiety, and the only thing they can control in their life is what goes in their mouth.
Have you eaten today?
So they stop eating.
I don't have time.
Come on, I'll make you a sandwich.
No, I don't want one.
You gotta eat.
Travis has always tried to help his wife, but Chelsea's behavior becomes more erratic.
What? What now?
I can't do this anymore.
Troubles were festering, and Chelsea and Travis grew further and further apart.
I can't do it.
When the kids were only 2 years old, Travis filed for divorce, and it really threw Chelsea for a loop. Chelsea fears a divorce will cost her more than her husband.
She became increasingly worried that the kids would be taken from her. I want to see my kids.
She was anxious, depressed.
Wake them up!
She just wasn't the same person.
I want to see my kids.
Chelsea isn't coping with co-parenting. She seeks professional help. Chelsea was seeing a psychiatrist who prescribed medication for anxiety and depression. And Chelsea was doing pretty good when she'd take her medications, but she stopped taking them. Instead, she self-medicates on stimulants. They were making her crazed and more paranoid than she was by nature. It's an amphetamine. It is the worst thing she could have been on. Chelsea is desperate to be reunited with her family.
You need more fire in that dragon.
But 9 months after their separation, Travis has met a new woman.
That looks so good.
Oh, well done.
26-year-old bank teller, Lisa Williams.
She loved being a part of her community and helping out where she could.
Anyone want some cookies?
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah.
She, too, was very passionate about children and was looking forward to having her own family someday. So when she met Travis Cook, who already had 2 young children of his own, she fell in love.
Is it good?
They were cute, they were lovable, she adored them. King Lisa.
Whoa.
Chelsea couldn't abide by the fact that Lisa was filling a role in Travis's life and in the children's life. Chelsea saw Lisa as the obstacle, the only obstacle to getting back with Travis and being a full-time mother to their kids.
In 2018, driven by jealousy and paranoia, Chelsea Cook is on a mission
Hello, homewrecker.
to scare off her ex's new girlfriend, Lisa Williams.
Stop. Stay away from my kids.
I love your kids.
Stay away.
Are you okay?
She wrote a nasty letter to Lisa. Chelsea's stalking behavior was escalating. It's a face-to-face confrontation.
Her disturbing behavior frightens Lisa, but she doesn't report it to police.
Have a good day? Yeah, no?
She isn't Chelsea's only target.
My babies.
What's up?
Her need to punish Travis was escalating.
What are you doing?
Why is that chart here?
Chelsea starts throwing out nasty insults about Lisa.
Look, don't do this in front of the kids, okay? You can't be here. You gotta go.
Travis told her to just cut it out. You know, he wasn't having any more of it. Chelsea grabbed Travis, and in the altercation, he ended up falling down a flight of stairs.
It's a new low. The assault takes place in full view of their children.
Chelsea had no concern for their mental health when she attacked their father in front of them.
Chelsea was charged with domestic violence in the presence of a child.
When Chelsea became physical and violent, at that moment, there was no way she was going to get custody of her children.
On November 25th, 2018, just weeks before Chelsea is to appear in court, Travis and Lisa are getting ready for the holiday season.
Is that good?
That looks great.
Like that?
Travis and Lisa had the kids at their house, and they were making doesn't get much more wholesome.
The family fun is interrupted when Travis receives a text message from Chelsea.
She said she needed to come by and bring some cold medicine for one of the kids.
When Chelsea arrived, she texted Travis to let him know that she was waiting in the parking lot to drop it off.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Travis leaves the apartment. He doesn't lock the door behind him because he's going to be right back. When he was gone, Lisa was in there with the kids. Chelsea went in.
Hey, kids. Mommy's home. Come here. Come to mommy.
What are you doing here? You can't be here. You gotta go.
He sees Chelsea there and tells her to leave.
Chelsea, now.
She gets up from where she's sitting by the kids. And goes into the bathroom and locks the door.
Yeah, no, I need the police here now.
Desperate,
Yes.
Travis calls the police. It seems to work.
She's still here, yeah.
Chelsea comes out of the bathroom. She heads straight to her coat. Travis goes, "Phew, this is good." She's gonna grab her coat and leave.
Chelsea grabs a gun from her coat. And fires 3 shots. All 3 shots strike Lisa.
Give me the gun!
The first bullet went into her chest cavity and her heart. Very rarely can anyone survive such a wound. But that wasn't enough. Chelsea shot her 2 more times.
It's horrible to think that children that age had to witness such violence.
Yeah, I need an ambulance here now. No, my girlfriend should be shot. She's been shot 3 times.
Travis goes over to tend to Lisa.
Yeah, I know it now. I need her now. She's dying.
But then he sees Chelsea going for her coat again. And he goes, "Oh my God, what if she's got another gun in that coat?" Pins her up against the wall to wait for the arrival of the police.
Kids, go to the bathroom now. Lock the door.
When the police arrive, Lisa is clinging to life, but she can't be saved. She dies on the way to the hospital.
There were 4 victims that night, but Lisa was the only one that died.
Lisa was killed because she fell in love. That was it. In 2020, Chelsea Cook pleads guilty to 7 charges, including aggravated murder, but never shows remorse. She said, "I shot the gun in her direction." Unwillingness to take responsibility completely. She is sentenced to 34 years to life. The judge also hands out a special punishment for the jealous mother. Chelsea cannot have any contact with her children.
The only way you can punish a mother like Chelsea is by keeping her from her children.
Chelsea took the life of a loving, caring woman because she couldn't take responsibility for her own failings.
Chelsea chose to feed her jealous self and not her mental health. And that made her a deadly woman. In an irresistible force, it's an immovable object.
How dare you!
Something's got to give, or someone's going to die.
In Hertfordshire, England, 2012, the future looks bright for 32-year-old Debbie Palmer and 29-year-old Paul Foxwell.
Debbie and Paul bought a house together in Welwyn Garden City. We were hopefully going to spend many years there together.
Don't even think about it.
I'm just unpacking.
Really?
They make a good team. They've set up their own business support company and have big plans.
Debbie was the company director and Paul was the company secretary.
They were very happy together
I bet that's our friendly neighbour again.
and everything looked rosy.
Love's our neighbour, Jen.
Even their next-door neighbor, 60-year-old Louise Lotz,
I thought you might like some morning.
Came from South Africa. She was very academic, went to university and got a first in English literature.
neighborly relations are put to the test early.
Is that birch tree in your backyard?
Well, I'm rather worried it's going to fall in our house.
A tree that was on Louise's property but threatening Debbie's property.
I was wondering, would you mind if we get it removed?
Sure. Then we both can have more light.
Louise is only too happy to help.
Louise even supported that application and sent a letter to the council to say she was very happy to have that tree removed.
Lovely tea, thank you.
They resolved it very well. Together.
For more than a year, harmony reigns in the neighborhood. Until Louise has a new fence built.
I knew it. This fence is on our land.
Are you sure?
Debbie became aware the new fence was 2 inches on her property, and she made a big deal about it.
Debbie became obsessed by the fence and started to attack it with the intention of destroying it.
What's going on? This fence is on my land. Nonsense. It is. And it's coming down.
Louise dug her heels in. She wasn't going to let Debbie push her around and tell her what to do.
How dare you? I'm calling the police.
Off you go then.
Stop.
Are you kidding? Get out of my way.
That should have been the end of it, but it was only the beginning.
The perfect neighborhood storm began to brew.
Their altercation escalates into a bitter, ongoing feud.
Doing? What does it look like?
So things were obviously getting quite heated, and the tension was rising in the neighborhood.
What are you doing?
Neighbors said that it was like living next to 2 dogs barking at each other the whole time.
Confrontations, verbal abuse, fighting outdoors became the norm for Debbie and Louise. It became a battleground.
Help, I need the police.
Local police become regular visitors to the neighborhood.
They were clearly quite well aware as to what sort of things were going on.
She's a lunatic. I want her arrested.
I'm sorry, but until there's any violence, we can't help you with that, ma'am.
You'll often find in the police service that these sort of cases are sometimes one word against another.
Thank you, Miss Foxwell. Officer, I would like her arrested.
Who may or may not be to blame.
The police issue both Debbie and Louise community protection warnings. The order prohibits any further harassment, trespass, or photography across the fence.
The police thought this would solve the problem. It didn't. And neither one of those women was going to walk away.
Louise!
Someone's going to die.
In 2016, the neighborhood war is put on hold when Debbie Foxwell loses her greatest ally and the lone voice of reason in the ongoing fence line feud. Her partner, Paul, succumbs to a brief battle with cancer.
Paul died just 3 weeks after the original diagnosis.
Loss of a spouse or romantic partner is one of the most devastating things that can happen to someone. The loss is indescribable.
Debbie really did struggle. She became quite angry with the world.
It doesn't take long for Debbie to channel her pain across the back fence.
The angry, foul, vile interactions, and sometimes physical, with Debbie took on a life of its own.
Finally, in 2017, comes hope of an end to the hostilities. The man with the solution is Anthony Vroon.
Debbie met a young man, and they fell in love.
You know, I never thought I'd be this happy again.
You deserve to be happy.
Anthony actually moved into the house with Debbie Foxwell.
What's she doing now?
Just ignore her.
No, she makes my life unbearable.
Anthony offers a simple fix.
Maybe we should move.
Yeah.
So they made a joint decision that they were going to put the house on the market.
messy neighbour. I can't tell because of that pigsty next door.
Louise was afraid to go out and work in her garden.
Oh, it's disgusting. Just look at it.
Her garden was overgrown and unkempt.
Calm down.
Who? It's that cow's fault.
That was true or not, no one knows. But things were about to get a lot worse.
On August 24th, 2019, the years of simmering animosity boil over in a final showdown at the fence.
Every single thing you're doing.
Debbie began filming Louise on her mobile
Get
phone.
away from me.
Louise was not happy. She saw this as a violation.
Get away from me. Give it back.
And Louise did something that might have sealed her fate.
How about I do? I mean about you.
She grabbed Debbie's phone
Give it back. I need it about you.
and ran with it.
And that's when all hell broke loose.
This time, there's no stopping Debbie's rage. She confronts Liam, a tenant on Louise's property.
There is a term animal trainers use. It's called the red zone. When the animal is in fight, they will not stop. Nothing can happen until it's over. I think this is what happened to Debbie.
Terrified, Louise makes a desperate bid to escape.
Stay out of it.
Debbie sees her and chases her.
Louise ran away and she approached another neighbour's house.
Help me!
She was banging on the door, desperately asking for help.
Debbie turned the spade on its side to use it like a machete.
Debbie went nuts.
She hit Louise Lotz on the head with the spade, probably about 7 times, causing catastrophic injuries.
She fractured her eye socket, her face, and her skull during this attack.
Louise Lotz is guilty of nothing more than annoying her neighbor. She dies a savage death because the wrong person moved in next door.
After this relentless and brutal assault, Debbie simply turned round, walked away, and went back into her house.
It's over. You've done it.
And then she says to Anthony when it's over, well, it's done now. That tells me that's what she wanted all along.
For the final time, there's no question who's at fault. Debbie is arrested and charged with murder.
Debbie pleaded guilty to manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility, but not guilty, crucially, to murder.
The jury disagrees, and in 2020, Debbie Foxwell is convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison with a non-parole period of 21 years.
It seems to me Debbie was looking for someone to vent her rage, and in Louise, she found it. The vast majority of people serving time for murder in prison are not natural-born killers. She was a deceitful person who had no problem doing things that were wrong.
Late 2000, Orange County, California. It's the dawn of a new millennium, but in the Little Saigon district of Westminster, the old ways prevail.
It's not unusual in the Vietnamese community for business owners to go to a fortune teller, and people often rely on every word they say.
36-year-old Tanya Nelson needs a financial miracle.
Tanya had a lingerie shop in Little Saigon, but it wasn't doing well. She and her husband had acquired over $200,000 in debt.
I see better times ahead.
Really?
A good fortune teller. They were extremely respected and looked up to, and they were a bit like a celebrity.
None is more successful or revered than Jade Smith.
Your bad luck will change.
Really?
Tanya hung on every piece of advice Jade gave her.
If you move,
To where?
She thought that she needed to move the location of the business in order for the business to do better.
North Carolina. You'll find success in North Carolina. That's where your future is.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's good news.
very good news. I think we should celebrate.
Jade told her that the solution to her financial problems,
To new beginnings.
that's exactly what Tanya did.
Tanya's new business on the East Coast. She starts a nail salon.
Are you happy?
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Great.
A new town, a new clientele, but the change brings no solution to Tanya's money troubles.
And that also starts to spiral. And she starts to have financial problems.
Would you like to make another appointment?
No, not at the moment.
Jade told her to go to North Carolina and start a new business there and everything would be fine. It wasn't.
Tanya doesn't give up.
Hello, Tanya Salon.
She simply diversifies the business.
Cindy's available. At what time?
She cooked up a new way to make money. She turned it into an illegal escort service.
Okay, cash up front.
Always.
She had to supplement her income, and it seemed to be the easiest course of action for her by starting this escort service.
She even offers special arrangements for favored clients,
Hey there.
like Philippe Zamora.
So Philippe Zamora was just your average married family guy with kids, lived in a nice neighborhood, nice home, no criminal history.
Thanks for organizing this.
Philippe had a secret. He was a closet homosexual.
No problem. Brad?
Hey, man.
You can use that room.
Philippe confided to Tanya, and she tried to introduce him to other men.
$50 for the room.
Tanya was the wrong person to confide in.
Have fun, boys.
Sex sells, but not so well in North Carolina.
Tanya opened a store in a very conservative area of North Carolina next to a church. So it wasn't exactly the type of establishment that would be frequented by that community.
Tanya learned early on that this business wasn't going to do well.
Tanya can't win, and all her woes can be traced back to just one person.
You just have to be patient.
All your hard work will pay off. I should never have moved here.
She's about to hit complete rock bottom. She has a business that is a failure. She has lost her home. It's been foreclosed. And so the world as she knows it is about to collapse.
Everything will be fine. You just have to have faith.
Jade got her into this mess, and Tanya decides it will be Jade who gets her out.
I need your help. I need you to come with me to Lady Ha's place.
Orange County, California. Predicting people's futures has afforded Jade Smith a life of luxury.
She was making a tremendous amount of money, sometimes $15,000 for a reading, and she flaunted her money.
Well, why don't you give her a reading next time?
I'll try.
Oh, you'd be good at it.
She drove around in expensive cars. Her daughter had the best of everything.
It's really nice to have you.
More importantly, everybody knew about Jade's money.
Especially Tanya.
Can I see you?
Of course. Anytime.
Tanya set up an appointment to meet with Jade.
I'll see you soon, okay?
Okay, great. Thanks.
She wanted a special reading so that she could help her with all of the things that she was struggling with.
Following Jade's advice has brought Tanya to the brink of bankruptcy.
North Carolina. You'll find success there. I think that's where your future is.
She wants a refund with interest.
She decides to fly to California and rob Jade of her money and her jewelry. But she needed some help.
Tanya turns to the one person she can totally control, Philippe Zamora.
No, I can't.
You will. Otherwise, I'll talk to your wife.
Okay. Just don't tell my wife, okay?
Tanya knew Felipe's secrets because she was arranging gay hookup partners for him. And he was closeted, so he would do what Tanya wanted.
Tanya and Philippe head to California, and on April 21st, 2005, they arrive at Jade's for their scheduled reading.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Room studying.
But I thought you were in Korea. I want to apologize.
Jade believed this was just another consult from their client.
She turned her back. Big mistake.
Tanya picked up a kitchen knife.
What are you doing?
And just went wild. She started stabbing Jade in the neck, face, and head.
As Jade's daughter Anita heard the commotion,
Mom! Stop! What are you doing?
When Anita started screaming, Tanya told Philippe to shut her up.
Tanya grabs another knife from the butcher block.
Stop screaming!
Anita had nothing to do with this. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Philippe was robotically doing what Tanya was ordering him to do. Tanya called all the shots.
Mother and daughter bleed out on the kitchen floor.
The last thing that Jade hears is the whimpering of her daughter as she's being stabbed to death. The cruelty of that is just mind-boggling.
Tanya and Philippe search the house for cash and jewelry.
they knew that Jade had a lot of flashy jewelry, handbags, designer clothing, things of that nature.
They find credit cards and designer goods, but miss the pot of gold.
What they failed to find was the $68,000 that was in the vacuum cleaner bag and the $500,000 in jewelry that was in the coffee grounds.
They also make another fundamental error.
We believe in their haste and, again, poor planning, that they meant to take the knives with them and forgot them at the crime scene.
Well, you know, we're not talking about experienced hitmen here.
Tanya then adds a final coat of crazy to her shocking crime.
They leave the scene and they go to a local store and get a gallon of white paint. They go back to the murder scene and pour the white paint over the victims' faces and hands.
Witchcraft voodoo on what this could have meant.
the most obvious to us as investigators is that it would have destroyed any DNA evidence at that time.
They go back to North Carolina and try to assume a normal life.
And for a few weeks, they do just that.
We were dealing with 2 people that didn't have criminal history. They weren't in any kind of DNA databases.
That makes them harder to find. They become more of a ghost, if you will.
After 6 weeks, the police are no closer to finding the killers. But Tanya simply can't control her overwhelming lust for money.
Tanya was so greedy for Jade's money, she took her credit cards. She started using them.
At Versace and Armani and some of the other stores.
Then Tanya makes a purchase that puts a bullseye on her back.
She purchased the airline tickets under Jade Smith's name.
So who was calling themselves by the name of a dead woman and using her credit cards? They were about to find out.
Police are waiting when Tanya's flight lands in Orange County. She's arrested for credit card fraud. But when it comes to the murders...
You make it easier for yourself if you talk.
Tanya doesn't say a word. Ever.
She's never spoken about the murders. At all.
She was going to make us figure this out ourselves and not give any explanation.
Tanya is very cool, calm, and collected at all times. Basically feels no guilt.
Philippe can't stop talking.
How do you know Tanya Nelson?
I wish I didn't.
What did she make you do?
She made me go to Jade's.
He just talked and talked and talked. Ultimately, that initial interrogation was almost up to 6 hours of him describing everything that happened.
She threatened me. She screamed at me, "Kill her! Kill her! Stop her!"
In 2009, Philippe Zamora pleads guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder and is sentenced to...
Played by a master manipulator and got nothing for it. But life in prison.
Tanya Nelson is convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder. Due to the special circumstances, the number of victims, the motive of money, and the manner of attack, she's sentenced to death and is awaiting execution on California's death row.
I don't think there's any better place for a person like Tanya to be sitting.
Tanya believed Jade owed her compensation for bad advice. The price she set was 2 innocent lives.
The motive for this crime, it is preposterous. It's hard to believe that someone could be that obsessed and to go to such great lengths. It's not a bad novel. It happened in real life, and 2 beautiful people paid for it.
Tanya, to this day, is the queen of greed and evil. She is a woman that you do not want to cross.
I think it was the perfect storm that may never have happened again in her life. But nevertheless, Tanya chose to solve her problems through murder.
These deadly women put their wants and desires above human lives. Chelsea Cook's jealousy cost a caring woman her life. Debbie Foxwell loathed her neighbor to death. And Tanya Nelson brutally killed a mother and daughter for money. All 3 lacked empathy and compassion. They were soulless.